Since the last video this car was in, I've done a few things to it, so I want to just go ahead and catch up on those real quick. Most notably is going to be our wheels. These are a set of Koenig Hypergrams in 18, 10.5, 25. I actually got these a while ago when I ended up doing the 370Z rear arms because the rear end was poked out so much farther. I thought I wouldn't be able to run a good sized tire on my TC3s. Turns out I still can, but I've had these sitting around for literally a year. They have pretty decent Ao52's on them, 265/35, which is a little smaller than what I normally run, but the actual section width is about the same as the Bridgestone RE71 RS in a 275, so the width shouldn't really be an issue here. And they are 3 pounds lighter per wheel with the wheel and tire setup, and I do really like the look of them. I think they look sick on the car. I actually really enjoy them. Moving on to the brakes, we still have the R35 setup in the front with the Hog DTC 60s, but in the rear I actually got a good deal on some drilled and slotted 2-piece rotors. I didn't really want drilled and slotted ones, but these were over $250 cheaper than just the slotted versions, so I ended up picking those up. We're gonna see how they last. Maybe they'll crack, but I'm not really gonna be surprised if they do. Kind of just got them because I did want 2-piece rotors a long time ago, and my stop techs were getting pretty worn out. I've also cut all the rear of the brake shield out of there, so there's much better airflow through the rotor, so hopefully they can cool off a lot better and not stay as hot. The exhaust you can hear idling. We now have a new set of ISR blast pipes. I did have a Nismo setup on this car for a little while, but for the track at Button Willow, I wanted to go back to an ISR single exit sort of setup. This exhaust is like 15 pounds lighter than the Nismo exhaust, and I actually have it with a good muffler now and a Nismo S-Tune Y pipe. So it has a good Y pipe now. It's making more power than ever before. Sounds better than ever before, kind of. Forgot to mention as well in the rear, this thing had GK Tech rear spherical bushings, but I actually took all the GK Tech spherical bushings themselves out, and now it has FK bearings in the rear end, so it's essentially an SPL rear end. The GK Tech ones got play really fast, so those are on there. Car actually has a fresh alignment, and for some reason I've never been this elaborate with car setup before, but this time I was being really intentional with everything I did, so I actually aligned the car at race weight, including driver weight in the seat. Got the alignment pretty dialed. It's about 2.5 negative degrees of camber in the rear, about 3.5 on this side, and I think 3.7 on the other side. The cameras are off in the front, so I do need to check that out, but I didn't really have time to do it when I was on the alignment rack at the time. It also has brand new SPL end links front and rear. Those are now set to height. I also cut out about 2 pounds from the hood, just under here. I tried to sort of simplify everything, get rid of some weight if I could easily. I've got one more of these jugs that you guys are actually sitting on right now I need to load in, and then I have a few other things I'll probably load in, but we're pretty much good to go and ready to make the trip up to Buttonwillow tomorrow. So I will pick this up in the morning. Alright, so now we are full on gas. You'll notice the car isn't at a full tank. My plan is to keep weight down and run it at about a half tank all day, so I have 3 full jugs of VP, well not VP fuel, but 3 full VP jugs of 91, so we're ready to go. And as long as it doesn't fuel starve, I'm going to try and run it as low as possible while still trying to keep some weight in the rear with giving it a bit more gas. But let's go ahead and head to the actual track now. It's about 25 minutes away, so I will see you there. We are in Buttonwillow. All right, we'll go ahead and park our normal spot I normally park at, and we will unload this pig and set tire pressures, mark the rotors, give it a quick check over, and then go to registration. You know how the day goes if you watched the other videos. If you guys have watched my other video tracking this car, you'll know what's going down right now. Now, I probably won't voice over much here in this video, but one thing you will notice is a lack of grip overall and me trying to overdrive the car throughout all these sessions. The car did not feel great, and it didn't make it any better by me trying to exceed what the car was capable of, trying to get a sub 2. Compare this section of the track to a little later in the video, you'll see how insane of a difference it makes just from switching to Kumho's. The car was so loose for no reason. It's never really felt this way, and it's really annoying because I set the car up a specific way and it absolutely just did not perform how I expected. have session 4 and the last session of the day on Ao52's due to an ABS failure that ultimately flat spotted them down to the cords. So it happened for the better because the Kumos were a faster tire and just made the car feel a lot better. But here's a full lap of all I was dealing with throughout the day. Back on track for session 5, but this time on Kumos. It was a really weird jump for me. The car felt exactly how I expected it to. It was much more planted, much more stable. It was still a little oversteery, but that ultimately was car setup. But it was way more manageable throughout the day and a lot less scary in all sections of the track. even with that mistake, it was still one of my faster laps of the day. So ultimately, I had restored hope in the car and hoping that maybe on the last session I can go out and get an actual new PB, but that proved not to be the case.
202.6. Right here is cut off and done like that for the aerodynamics. Huh? The other side's like that. He cut it and dented it in so that way it pushes everything out. He was wondering if that happened here today.
Now, as you could expect, I was not in a great mood after the whole situation, but I felt this video was still important to make just for the sake of transparency and documentation. Overall, like, realistically speaking, it was a pretty decent day. I was consistently running my PB lap, essentially. Even though I did really want to sub 2, ultimately, I also just wanted to get a new PB in general, whether that would have been anything faster than a 202.4 or not. I would have been satisfied. So the whole day I was just pushing it really hard, stupidly. Obviously, I wasn't in the right headspace, kind of, because I just was super annoyed of the whole situation, that I was just pushing it harder when I should have just been trying to be smoother, and it probably would have netted better lap times. But all you can really do in a situation like that is look back and learn from it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do going forward. Luckily, the car didn't really suffer too much damage, actually. It hit the bumper, obviously cracked the bumper, because these bumpers are like super brittle, especially when they're old, and it was a colder day that day, so it was just super brittle. Cracked the whole side, and did bend over this bumper beam pretty hard. So this is actually a new one from an 04 350Z, but I do need to find a new tow hook, because the tow hook size changed between years. I'm not sure it changed between 03 and 04. I'm pretty sure it would change between 03, 04, and then 05, 06, or maybe 06 up. I don't know. This is marked 04. It might not be an 04 because my friend is an 04. The tow hook doesn't fit. So that's really all I needed to replace. I just threw in a new tow hook. All my control arms were good. The headlight was good. The tabs are like broken, but it's been broken since a long time ago for other reasons. The hood is good. The fender's good. Everything else is fine. I did drift stitch the bumper just because it looks fine, honestly. I'm going to throw it on. I'm going to do a little bit of track prep for this car for next track day, which is actually in 2 weeks. So like I said, I've reevaluated the situation. I've got new tires coming in because these are pretty much smoked. They're actually like completely corded from that whole event. And the Ao52's are flat spotted, also trash. But I'm gonna try some new setup stuff to figure out that ABS, and then I'm also going to just redo the front alignment. Hopefully the car is good. I'm going into this next track with an open mind, and I actually haven't been there in 2 years, so I'm really excited to see how everything goes. And just take this video as a lesson to chill out, enjoy things, be a little more analytical, and don't be so in the moment, trying your best whenever realistically it might not be possible, or really what you need to do is just step back and reevaluate how things are going and sort of work from there.